Well, hello. It is wonderful to see you again. We
Thank you.
are interviewing Tiffany. She chose to have a home birth with Midwives Care, and we also served her with doula family services with the doula care. So, Tiffany, introduce yourself a little bit and why you chose home births.
Sure. Um, I am currently a mom of two. Now I have a daughter who just turned 5, and then my baby is 9 months. I am from the Chicagoland area, currently in Wheaton right now. And I had well, first off, my age, I'm 41 now. I was 35 when I had my first, 40 when I had my second. I decided to do home birth because I had my daughter in the hospital and it was a little bit traumatic. I was induced over the course of 3 days and went in on a Wednesday, did not give birth until Saturday, and was bullied by most of the staff members. And it was during COVID, but at the same time, that hospital, they just had a lot of protocols and procedures, they called it, to try to get me to induce by 39 weeks. Even though I didn't feel ready, I didn't feel like she was ready to come yet. I knew it was my first birth, but at the same time, it did not go as planned. I'm very thankful I gave birth to her vaginally. Did not have to have a C-section, but was bullied up until the very last second of pushing her out. And I was scared to give birth again. I would have never imagined having birth in a home or a birth center at the time if you would have talked to me about it. But right after she was born, I found out that she was having trouble with formula, with a dairy intolerance. And I went down a rabbit hole, as a lot of people did after or during COVID, and started going through Instagram and Facebook and finding a lot of natural minded former nurses that are moms that were teaching moms how to navigate the formula world, breast milk, donated breast milk, all of that, which then led me to more of like a natural path of living. Which then flash forward like 2 years, was pregnant again, lost that, unfortunately, lost that baby, pregnant again the following year, lost that baby, and then pregnant again in 2024. And I just had it really, really heavy on my heart that I wanted to do a home birth. Now that I'd followed a bunch of people that did home births, I went to or go to a church where they're all homeschoolers, and a lot of them are home birthers. And they've been doing it for years, and they just didn't think it was scary at all. And I changed my frame of reference around home birth during those last 3 or 4 years. And so I chose to go with midwives care with Rachel because she helped me one day when I thought I had a UTI and found out I was pregnant. Um, and she was able to talk me through things as a midwife. I didn't intend to have any home birth with her. And so then that started the process of getting into the home birth world.
So when you first started your process with her with prenatal care,
Mhm.
uh, Rachel is very professional in what she does and how she serves the community. What was some of your take on her skill sets and the other midwives and, and why you really appreciated them?
Yeah, sure. So I had been to several OBs and midwives during my first pregnancy. Since the COVID shut down, there's several offices that wouldn't even see me. Up until, let's see, I think it was like the first one didn't even see me until almost 14 weeks pregnant. She said she wouldn't see anyone until 12 weeks, and then they didn't have any appointments, and so I wasn't seen until 14 weeks pregnant. And I didn't know that that was not normal. Finding out very quickly with Rachel that she was like, "No, I'll see you at 5 weeks, at 6 weeks. Like, you get a pregnancy test, you come see me." And I was like, "What?" And that was with the UTI. My friend suggested her. My friend had given birth with that practice. a couple times, and she was like, "Hey, I think you should go in. If you have a UTI, you should go see her. I know you're not in home birthing, but she'll make an exception probably for talking to you, at least giving you a test right away instead of having to wait to go to your OBGYN." And so I did. And I sat there and I just started asking her some questions like, how soon would you even see me if I were to get pregnant, that sort of thing. She's like, "I'll see you the day you take your test and we'll do an ultrasound." She's like, "I want you to feel secure that you know that you have a heartbeat and you have a flourishing baby." So that was the start of it, was just the reassurance, and that she cared about my baby. It wasn't just about me. She used terms like, "We care about the baby. We care about our ladies. We care about our babies." She's like, "God gave us babies for a reason. We want to make sure that they grow good," and things like that. And I was so thankful to hear someone say that rather than just be like, I felt like at a meat market when I was at my OBGYN, where it was like, take a little ticket, you wait for your name to be called, you go in, they don't even know your name, they don't say your name, and then they're like, "Okay, are you taking prenatals? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Okay, you're not. Okay, bye." And it just was a totally different experience. I also was thrown off by the fact that I went to Rachel's home for my first visit. I didn't, my friend gave me the address of where she was located. I didn't even think to myself, like, I would be going to her house and there's an office inside her house. And then I just started laughing because I was like, oh, okay, like, I think this is more my personality where I feel like I'm getting to know a friend more than I am like a ticket at a meat market.
So you were recommended for doula support because it was your
Mhm.
first home birth, correct?
Mhm.
Tell me your feedback from what that has been for you.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So so I saw Rachel for the first part of the pregnancy, and then it came time to talking about doulas. But um, I had already signed with a different doula by the time I talked to Rachel about it, and she was like, "Well, you already signed with that lady. Is there any way that you can remove your contract?" Because she's like, "You really should be talking to Carol, and you should be talking to Carol and her doulas." I was like, "Okay, we'll see." Um, and it became very, very clear after my first meeting and a couple phone calls with the previous doula, that she was not right for me. And then it became very clear with the very first call with you, that I needed to be with you and your practice. And so um, I actually canceled a contract with my previous doula. I lost a bunch of money, unfortunately, and started having phone calls and meetings with you and your team.
So in that first contract, which most people aren't aware, they need to read the contract and the agreement. And what were some of the things that were in the contract that would be um, noticeable?
So I'm going to go opposite of that question. It's actually what was not in the contract. So what was stated on her website, with the previous doula, stayed on her website and in person, over, actually, no, it was not in person. I apologize. In an email, was a very small line about how she wouldn't come until a certain centimeter, until like 6 or 7 centimeters. And I missed that. And I wish I would have known. I wish someone would have told me that that doula would not come until I was possibly ready to just push that baby out. I've heard that there's been ladies that are 6, 7 centimeters, and literally 10 minutes later, they push that baby out. And I wish I would have known sooner. I would have never signed with that person. What I found with you guys is that you're like, we'll be there when you need us. If you have trauma, if you have anxiety, if you have um, a certain situation at home where you don't feel protected and you want a safer environment, we can come sooner. And you're not going to charge me an extra $2,000 to be there 4 hours earlier. Um, and that was the difference that I hope and wish that other moms investigate. And I try to, when I talk to people about getting a doula, I tell them, hey, when would you like your doula there? Because that matters. You need to talk to her about it. You need to find out what the contracted date and time is that they will come, or if they'll come visit you and then come back, or if they just come once, or if they charge extra for coming like 5 hours, 6 hours earlier. Um, because this doula that I had, it was really unfortunate, but she basically said, like, she's like, my time and my sleep is way more important than when you're in labor. And so I'm not going to spend all night with you, or I'm not going to spend hours and hours with you when you're in labor, early labor, if I think you're not at 6 or 7 centimeters. I'm like, but how would you know if I was at that? You can't check me. And what if I gave birth within like an hour of that 6 or 7 centimeters? How would you just race over here? Like, why wouldn't you stick with me, wait till the midwives get here, let them check me out, and then see if you needed to stay or not? And it was just a very flippant answer. And that's what the difference is between you and your practice and her, is that you were like, nope, we will be there if you need us, if you want us. If not, we'll remove ourselves. But we want to make sure that you are secure in having the support that you need. And you just kept saying that over and over again. We will give you the support that you need. What you need is what is important.
So when you first were in labor, can you kind of give us an idea of what your experience was?
Yes. Um, long story short, I went to a final ultrasound and found out the baby was about 10 and a half pounds. And that scared me, because a 10 and a half pound baby, because previously, less than 3 weeks earlier, I was like measuring it like a 7 pound baby or 7.5 pound baby. So, a little bit of a shock. So when I talked to Rachel, midwife, she's like, you might want to try some natural inducing methods. So we tried a few herbal tinctures, acupuncture, that sort of thing. Um, and so what was funny is that I started labor. It was like a prodromal labor, I believe.
Mhm.
And so that dissipated. I thought I was okay. But it kept coming in waves throughout a 24-hour period. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm not in labor yet, but I'm getting ready. My body's getting ready. And then it came to the day of that I actually gave birth on the first, and I started having contractions. They're getting harder and harder and harder, and I'm like gaslighting myself, thinking, "Oh no, I'm fine. This is still prodromal labor. I don't need my doulas or midwife yet." And then overnight, I was like, "Should I call them? I think I should be calling them." But I had learned a bunch of tactics on through people I follow and through you, and through some other doulas that I follow, on how to mitigate that pain in early labor. And so I'll be really honest, I should have called way sooner than I did, because I was in the room screaming my husband's name and I think I was screaming my doula's names, seeing if they were even in the house. I'm crazy for thinking they would just be here. But I had made my phone call to you, and you're like, yep, I'm pretty sure you're in labor. We're going to get the girls over there as soon as possible. Let's get Rachel over there. I talked to Rachel, a midwife, and they all showed up at once, which was funny. And they all checked on me, and they're like, yep, girlfriend, you are in labor. And I was very close to active labor at that point. So I guess the joke's on me that I didn't have someone there the whole entire early labor stage, but I was okay. I would have liked someone to be there though, from that very beginning. I didn't know what was really happening at the moment. And then labor progressed, I would say relatively normal, or I don't know if they call normal, but it wasn't slow, it wasn't fast. It was a good amount of time between early labor and then giving birth at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So the value of having the team in your own home, what was that like for you? Knowing
Oh, it
that
was so
they were
great. Yeah, it was so great. Just the fact that I didn't have to get up and go anywhere. I didn't have to worry about a car ride. I didn't have to worry about getting checked in the hospital. I absolutely hate hospitals. Um, I didn't have to worry about like getting sick at the hospital. I didn't have to worry about packing. Oh, I mean, I packed a bag just in case, but like I didn't have to worry about making sure I brought everything that I needed. I just knew that I had everything here between the doulas, between you checking in on me and the midwife checking in on me, midwife assistants checking to make sure I had everything here. I just didn't have that extra stress that I did with my daughter at the hospital. It was really nice to be able to listen to the music I had, to be in my own bed, to be in the shower, to eat my own food. Didn't eat a whole lot, but to have my own food here. to drink out of my cup. It was just the little things I think that built up that made it feel more comfortable over time.
So how did your birth go?
Relatively well. I started off in the birth tub. I think uh, your doulas got me on the toilet at one point, but it was pretty uncomfortable for my back
Okay.
um, to labor there, so that was not my favorite. But then I went to tub, the birth tub, and labored there for a couple hours. Excuse me. But then I started losing strength in my legs to keep myself up. And the doulas were really great in making sure that I felt supported, like they held my hand, they were rubbing my back, they put water on me, they gave me sips of water, electrolytes, watermelon, whatever it was, helped me through some of the worst of it. And then realized that I needed to get my water broken. So Rachel broke my water for me. Um, and then it was a couple hours later, I think like 2 hours later, that I gave birth. The only problem was that I wanted a water birth. It's not a problem, but I wanted a water birth, but I was losing strength in my legs. They moved me to the bed. And by the time I got to the bed, I was on my back and I did not have enough strength to get onto my legs to do like, a four leg
Hands and knees.
hands and knees. Yeah. Um, four legs. Oh my gosh. Hands and knees. I'm a tired mom. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Um, and that was the only unfortunate part. So I did have to give birth on my back because I didn't have enough strength at that point. So that was probably my only drawback is that I wish I would have called the doula sooner, wish I would have called the midwife sooner, wish I would have, been able to get on my hands and knees sooner rather than later. But I guess what she said it does happen. You can get very relaxed in a pool and not get tired, but not progress as fast. So it did happen to me. It's possible, but I still would do it again. If I ever got pregnant again, I would still have a water birthing tub, and then know that the possibility of having a baby on the bed was fine. So yeah, I think it was all in a matter of total of like 6 or 7 hours.
And so your postpartum care, midwives and the doula
Mhm.
stayed for how long do you think they stayed for afterwards?
Oh, I actually don't know the answer to that question. I know it was several hours. I want to say it was 3 hours.
Yeah.
Um, what was more amazing to me though was that you guys followed up with me immediately after giving birth. Followed up with me that evening. Midwives checked in with me that evening. I believe one of the doulas was here. Was it the next day or the day after? I can't remember. Um, and they would come as often as I needed or wanted, which I was super thankful for. And then several like weeks went by, and one of the doulas came out to my home just to hang out, so I could like she would hold the baby and he would sleep in her arms while I could like clean up and take a shower and be with my daughter for a little while, and just things like that where I didn't have the support at home at the time, and so having a doula come that late postpartum was really helpful.
So would you recommend a home birth for those who are seeking home births?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say I've talked to some people who are seeking home birth, but they've had some like ongoing health issues that did complicate pregnancy or did complicate birth previously. And so for those people, I would say be cautious. Um, just, I'm not 100% opposed to a hospital birth. I'm not 100% opposed to, birth centers or having all those, bells and whistles at the hospital. Uh, but for someone who doesn't have a history with that or it's like first time, I would say absolutely. I'll be really honest, like I struggled with you. I talked to you a lot about how I'm overweight. I'm over 40. I feel kind of arthritic sometimes, and I don't have a big home. I have a condo. And I was like sharing all these concerns with you, and you're like, no, you can do this. Like, this is okay. You can do this. You can do it. Very reassuring, And I asked you, if I did have physical ailments or physical problems with giving birth, would you promote this still? And you said we would take a closer look at that. So you at least you were cautious, like if something does come up, then we'll talk about hospital birth. You were never like putting me in one box or the other of like, it could go bad for you. Always kept that positivity of, it's going to be okay. You're going to trust God. You're going to work through this. We're going to work through the trauma. We're going to prepare you. We're going to support you. It was just constant saying those things to me, which helped. If someone had said that once to me and then never said it again, I would probably be scared out of my mind.
Did you have any of your prenatal care at your own home?
I did. So we had between the doulas, I think I had several visits with you here in my home, and then I came to you several times, and then we talked on the phone uh, via web or just over the phone. And then midwives came starting at 30, I believe 32 weeks for me. And then they were there till the end of pregnancy. I did go to some ultrasounds outside of here. Went to a hospital, had that done. Um, so other than that, I believe we had up to, I don't know, 10, 15 visits between you as a doula group and my midwives in my own home, which was so nice. Very different than having to go to an OB office every week for 8 weeks straight.
Yes. And you got to meet all of the midwives, Emily,
Mhm.
Lena, and Colleen.
Yep. Yeah.
They're all top notch for sure.
Yeah.
They are certified nurse midwives. And so
Mhm.
thank you very much, Tiffany, for sharing your perspective with us and your story. And the kids were awesome. So
Well, thank you. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for always having that positivity. Thank you for working through my traumas. Thank you for being available. The fact that you and your doulas just would text back within, I don't know, the hour or minutes. I was just so thankful for that. That was just such a world of difference compared to the other doulas that I had spoken to.
well, thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.